Assalamu alaikum everyone. So today we are going to do O levels chemistry paper 1507011 and it's for October number 2024. Okay, let's start with question number one. Which law shows both property of a gas and a correct explanation for this property? Okay, so gas flow easily. Okay, yeah, the property is correct, right? The bonds within the molecules are weak. There is nothing to do with the bonds within the molecule. Gas move flow freely. It doesn't have to do anything with the molecules. It has that there are very weaker forces between the gas molecules. That's why it is. So the property is wrong. So it makes A goes wrong. The pressure of a sample of gas increases when the volume is decreased. Yes, that is correct. The particles collide more frequently with the walls of the container. Yeah, because if there is a lesser space, so the poly particles are going to collide more frequently. So it seems to be correct, but we have to assure the rest are wrong or not. The volume of the sample of gas increases when the temperature is increased. Yes, this is correct. The particles in the gas are no. Okay. If it is actually going to be correct when you increase the temperature, the volume of the gas is going to be increased. The particles are far apart. Yeah, that is the normal characteristic of the gas. It doesn't have to do with the, that the gas increases the temperature and the volume relation. There is nothing to do with this. It's to do with the volume. The volume is already bigger for a gas as compared to the same mass in a liquid. Okay, so C goes wrong. The spread of perfume particles is due to diffusion. Yes, diffusion is the movement of particles from an area of low concentration to the area of high. No, it moves from higher concentration area of the higher concentration to the to the area of the lower concentration. So D goes wrong, and so B is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number two. When measured under the same conditions of temperature and pressure, which gas diffuses at the same rate as nitrogen? The one having the same MR as nitrogen, right? So we know that nitrogen is N2. So the MR of nitrogen is going to be twice of 14. So which is going to be 28, right? Okay. So the one gas which is having the same MR as 28 is going to show the same the rate of diffusion. So ammonia has a hydro nitrogen is 14 and there are three hydrogen which makes it 17. Carbon monoxide, carbon is 12, oxygen is 16, so 28. So this seems correct and it is actually correct. So A over here 2 times 12 plus 6 times 1. So it is going to be 24 plus 6, 30. Then 2 times 16 is going to be 32. So C and D goes wrong and B is our correct answer. Now MCQ number 3. X and Y are both elements, one of which is a non-metal. 1 mole of X is added to 1 mole of Y and they are heated together. X and Y react completely to form substance Z. Substance Z cannot easily separated to form X and Y. So it means a chemical reaction occur and Z is a compound, right? Three statements are given. Y must be a non-metal. X and Y form a compound on heating. How do it is known that Y is a non-metal? Substance Z has an empirical formula of XY. Which statements are correct? Okay, so let's analyze the question once more. X and Y are both elements, one of which is a non-metal. 1 mole of X and 1 mole of Y is added to. Yeah, the third statement is correct. That is for sure the third statement is correct because see, we are using 1 mole of these two. So if you react 1 mole of X with 1 mole of Y, so obviously the compound formed is this, which is represented by Z. So yeah, third statement is correct and third statement is over here, which makes B goes wrong and D goes wrong. Okay, X and Y form a compound on heating. Yes, that's what we have all understood, that the Z is formed as a compound. But Y must be a non-metal? That is ambiguous. We don't know. They haven't told us any property of either X or Y, so we don't know that which one is going to be a non-metal. So first goes wrong, and if first goes wrong, then A is wrong. So it means C is our correct statement. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now question number 4. An ion has an electronic configuration of 288. Okay. It has a 2 negative charge and a nucleon number of 36. Okay. How many neutrons are present in the nucleus of this ion? So see, that is a little tricky question. It says that this is the electronic configuration of that X ion with a 2 negative charge. So when it turns into an X, it loses the 2 electrons. So initially its configuration is 288. So when it becomes an atom, its electronic configuration goes 286. Is this understandable?
Yes.
Okay. So if it's 286, so on adding these two, you will get X is 16, right? And nucleon number is 36. So 36 minus 16, isn't it 20? So it's D. It means A, B, and C. All goes wrong, and D is the correct answer, right? Is this understandable to all of you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, MCQ number 5. A formula for the two ions are given. Okay. Both are different elements because see there. No. Okay. Both are the isotopes, right? Because their proton number are same, indicating that they are isotopes. Which statement is correct? Okay. The chemical properties of both ions are the same. Yes, they are going to react exactly in the same manner. A is correct. The number of electrons in each of the ion is different. No, their uh, electrons are exactly the same because 34 and 2 minus means 36 electrons. So they both have the same electrons. The number of neutrons in each ion is the same. Yes, because uh, the number of neutrons over here, it's 34 minus 72 minus 34, which is going to be uh, 38, and over here it's 40. So see, they are different. So C statement is wrong as well. The number of protons in each ion is different. No, they both have a 34 and 34. So D goes wrong as well. So it means A is the correct answer. Is this clear? Now, MCQ number 6. Which pair molecules have the same number of electrons in covalent bonds? Okay, so that's same number of bonds, then they have a same number of electrons. So if we go for this one, first one, it has, and then C2H4. So if you count 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one has a 4 bonds and this one has a 6 bonds, right? So A goes wrong because both have a different number of bonds. So different number of electrons are present in the bonding. Is this understandable? Now over here, there is a carbon-carbon double bond and there is a hydrogen-oxygen single bond. So again, different number of bonds. It has a, if you see, 8 electrons involved in the bonding and 2 electrons involved in the bonding, which makes B goes wrong as well. Right? Now, NH3 and N2. In NH3, there are 3 single bonds, and in N2, there is a 1 triple bond. So there are 6 electrons involved, 6 electrons involved. So C seems correct. Over here, there is a oxygen-oxygen double bond, and there is a chlorine-chlorine single bond. So 4 electrons involved in the bonding of oxygen molecule, and 2 electrons are involved in the bonding of chlorine molecule. So D goes wrong, and yes, C is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, MCQ number 7. Chrome alum is a salt that contains 2 different cations and 1 ion. The ion present in chrome alum are potassium, chromium, and sulfate. What is the formula of the salt? Okay, so see, it's very easy if you have a such kind of a question. So see, there are 2 positive ions, keep them along. So what will be their net charge? Positive 4, right?
Yes.
So if it's positive 4, then we need a negative 2. So one sulfate makes, we need a negative 4, makes it negative 2, and another sulfate makes it negative 4. Is this understandable?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it is
C.
C. Is wrong. C has a 3, makes it wrong. 2 makes it wrong. So the B is the correct answer, right? Very good. Okay. Now, MCQ number 8. The table gives some information about barium and chlorine. Okay. They're giving you the relative atomic masses of barium and chlorine and their group in the periodic table. Use the information only. Our student makes three statements. Okay. And what are the three statements? 1 minute, please. One minute, please. Okay. So yeah, the first statement, there is more than one isotope of chlorine. Yeah, because the atomic number over here is in decimal, which indicates that the first statement is correct. And if the first statement is correct, then C and D goes wrong. Is this clear to all of you? Now, there may be more than one isotope of barium. Yes, there is a possibility as well, because that is not assure us, but there is a possibility. So second statement is correct as well. So it means C, B goes wrong as well. The relative formula mass of barium chloride is 208. So if we go for it, see, we have two chlorines. One is chlorine 35 and the one is chlorine 37, right? So barium is 137. And when you make the, okay, when you make the formula of barium chloride, barium is 2 positive and Cl is negative. So it is going to be BaCl2. So barium is 137 and there are two chlorines, right? So it is going to be 71. So 71 and is 8, 3 and 7 is 10 and 1 is 2. So yeah, the third statement is correct. So A is the correct answer, right?
Sir, how is 2 correct?
See, in second, they said that read the statement carefully. If you compare first and second statement, you will understand the point. Understand what examiner is trying to say. 3.5, 35.5. So there are two isotopes. That's why we are getting 0.5, right?
Yes.
So see, there is more than one isotope of chlorine. So it's crystal clear. Yes, there are two chlorine isotopes, or there are more than one isotopes of chlorine. Did you get this?
Yes, sir.
But over here, what they are saying, there may be more than one isotope of a barium. So it might be that it has a only one isotope, or it may have more than one. So there is both possibilities, right?
Yes.
Did you get it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, MCQ number 9. Which mass of carbon contains the same number of atoms as 16 gram of sulfur? So it's really easy. Just turn them into the moles and then calculate the moles for carbon in each case. So for a sulfur, if you go for a moles, so sulfur is 16 and its AR is 32. So 16 over 32 is 0.5 moles, right?
Yeah.
So 0.5 moles is going to be B because carbon's AR is 12. So over here, for carbon, 6 over 12 is 0.5. So it has a same moles. So it means they both contain same number of atoms. So B is the correct answer. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, 1 minute, please. Compound X contains carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen only. It has a MR of 90. 100 gram of compound X contains 40 gram of carbon and 60.7 gram of hydrogen. How many oxygen atoms are there in each molecule of compound X? Okay. So first we can go for the mass of oxygen, right? So mass of oxygen is actually equals to 100 minus 40 minus 6.7, right? So it is going to be 60 and 60 minus 53.3. So this is the
3.
amount of grams of oxygen, right? In 100 gram of X, right? Is this understandable to all of you? So 100 grams of a compound has 53.3 grams oxygen. So that is a total mass and that is a mass of oxygen. So if there are 90 grams of compound X, then how much oxygen is there? X, can anyone calculate the value of X? Because 90 is the MR, right? So 90 times 53.3 divided by 100. Yes. Is it 48?
Yes.
48. So 48 is the mass of oxygen in its MR, which is 90. So 48 divided by its AR will give me the moles or the number of oxygen atoms. So AR of oxygen is 16. So 48 divided by 16 is 3. So 3 is C. A, B, and D goes wrong, and C is correct answer. Clear? Is this clear to all of you? Now, MCQ number 11. Aqueous copper 2 sulfate is electrolyzed using copper electrodes. Okay. Which will describe the changes that takes place during the electrolysis. If you have used the copper electrode, so you must remember that these are the active electrodes, right? Okay. So if you recall, when there is an active electrode, mass of anode start to dissolve. So the mass of anode decreases, it makes A and B goes wrong. And at cathode, copper start depositing. So the mass increases. Color of the solution as the copper is being dissolved from the anode and being deposited at the cathode. So there is almost the amount of colors remains same. So it doesn't go paler. So C goes wrong. It stays the same. So D is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you? Now, MCQ number 12. Which law describes one advantage and one disadvantage of using hydrogen oxygen fuel cell to power a road vehicle? Okay. So the advantage, the fuel cell obtain oxygen from the air. Yes. The hydrogen has to be stored in a very strong tank. Yes, this is a advantage. We have to be very careful about hydrogen because hydrogen is a highly flammable gas. Okay. The fuel cell obtains the oxygen from the air. Yes, the only chemical product causes, no, its chemical product is water, which doesn't cause acid rain, right? So B is wrong. The fuel cell obtains oxygen from water. No. No, they doesn't gets from water. So, and this, so these all are going to be wrong. So A is the correct answer. Okay. Now, MCQ number 13, which statement about exothermic and endothermic reaction is correct? In an endothermic reaction, energy is used to break bonds, but no energy is released when bond form. Is it happen? Is this a correct statement? We know that if whether the reaction is endothermic or exothermic, both thing happens. But in endothermic, the energy absorbed during the bond breaking is greater, and the energy do release when the bonds are formed, but which is lesser. So A goes wrong. In an endothermic reaction, energy is released when bonds form. Okay. But more energy is used to break bonds. Yes, this seems correct. In an exothermic reaction, energy is released both by breaking and forming bonds. No, when by breaking bonds, the energy is always absorbed. So C goes wrong. In an exothermic reaction, energy is released when bond form, but no energy is needed to break bonds. So the last part of part D is option D is wrong again. So we are left with only option B, which is correct. So now MCQ number 14. Two gases react together to produce a single product. The rate of a reaction is affected by an increase in pressure. The reaction is catalyzed by platinum. Okay. Which will describe one effect on this reaction by increasing pressure and one effect on this reaction by adding platinum. Okay, platinum is a catalyst. Okay, one effect on increasing pressure and adding platinum. Okay, let's discuss. Rate of reaction. Obviously, when we increase the pressure, the rate of reaction is going to be increased. So A and B goes wrong. The activation energy increases. If the activation energy increases, then the rate of reaction would have decreases. So catalyst does not increases the activation energy. So D goes wrong. Catalyst decreases the activation energy. So C is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 15. Calcium carbonate reacts with excess dilute hydrochloric acid to form carbon dioxide. Okay. The reaction is investigated in two experiments. Okay. The rate of reaction is compared by measuring the volume of carbon dioxide formed over time in each experiment. The two rates are compared by plotting the graph. Okay. So they have reacted the excess dilute hydrochloric acid with the calcium carbonate, and they have performed two experiments. If you see the graph, the experiment one has a lower gradient and the experiment two has a higher gradient. So it means its rate is relatively higher and its rate is relatively lower, right? Now, which statement about experiment one and two is correct? Okay. If you see the gradient is getting lower and lower, right? So the experiment one and two both slows down as the reaction proceeds. So that explanation is completely perfect for both the curves if you see. So obviously initially the rate of reaction is very high, and as the reaction proceeds, the rate goes slower. So A might seems correct. Experiment one and two must both use acid of the same concentration. No, if they are of same concentration, then we are not getting the different gradients. We are getting the same gradient. So B goes wrong. Experiment one and two must have been done at the same temperature. Yes, this might be a chance as well that this is incorrect, because if the concentration are same and the temperature would be different, so again we are getting the different gradients. If the temperature is same, then the difference in concentration. So either would be the case. So C and D both goes wrong. Experiment 2 uses larger lumps of calcium carbonate. Okay, if they have used the larger lumps of calcium carbonate, so the gradient of experiment 2 is not slower, not greater, but smaller. So D goes wrong as well. Hence, A is your correct answer. Okay. Now, MCQ number 16. If a calcium carbonate is heated in a closed container, it will decompose, forming calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Calcium oxide and carbon dioxide can recombine to form calcium carbonate. So that's what they are talking about. The both can happen in the closed container. After some time, a position is reached where the calcium carbonate is decomposing and calcium oxide and carbon dioxide recombining at the same rate. What is this position called? Yes, who knows? It's very easy. When both the rate of forward and the backward directions are same, we call it
Equilibrium.
equilibrium. So A, B, and D goes wrong, and C is your correct answer. Now, MCQ number 17. Which set of conditions is used in the contact process? So contact process is for sulfuric acid. So from this, iron would not be the catalyst, right? So B and D goes wrong. Temperature 100 degrees Celsius is too low. We use 450 degrees Celsius. So C, we have ended up on option D, which is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 18. Copper forms a red oxide Cu2O and a black oxide CuO. See, they have mentioned the color of the two oxides which are formed from copper. Okay. In the presence of a catalyst, aqueous hydrogen peroxide H2O2 decomposes to form water. The black oxide has a copper in dash oxidation state, and the red oxide. Okay. So we are going to decide between higher and lower. In forming water, hydrogen peroxide is okay, oxidize or reduce. Which words complete? Okay, so let's have a look. If you see the net charge is -2, sorry, the net charge is 0, oxygen is -2, so it means each oxygen has a +1 oxidation number in the red oxide. And in the black oxide, the net charge is 0, oxygen is -2, so copper is +2. So copper is +2 in the black oxide. So the black oxide has a copper in higher oxidation state, right? In black oxide, copper is +2. So over here, it is going to be the higher oxidation state than in the red oxide. So that makes C and D goes wrong. Now, they are saying H2O2 decomposes to form water. So H2O2 when decomposes to form water. So have a look over here. The net charge is 0. Hydrogen is +1. There are two hydrogen makes it -2. So each oxygen is -1. Over here, there is a +1 times 2. Net charge is 0. So each oxygen is -2. So over here, the oxygen is -1. And over here, the oxygen is -2. So what happens to the oxygen? Oxygen is reduced. So in forming water, hydrogen peroxide is reduced, right? As it forms water, it reduced. So B goes wrong, and we have a option A as our correct answer. I hope it's clear to all of you.
Yes.
Now, MCQ number 19. An organic compound X has a molecular formula of C4H8O2 and turns damp blue litmus paper red. What is the displayed formula of X? So C. Two oxygens turning damp blue litmus paper red. So it means it's going to be acid and a carboxylic acid, right? So if you see, it's an ester. A goes wrong. It's an ester. B goes wrong. It's an ester. C goes wrong. See, C double bond OOOH. So it's an acid only. So D is the correct answer. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay. MCQ number 20. Which statement about oxides is correct? All acidic oxides are gases at room temperature. No, silicon oxide is a solid. So A goes wrong. All basic oxide dissolve in water to give alkali. Wrong. For example, magnesium oxide and all doesn't dissolve. Okay. So like magnesium oxide slightly soluble. Like copper oxide doesn't dissolve. So these doesn't dissolve. B goes wrong. Amphoteric oxide react with the acid alkalis and water. Yes, they do react with acids. They do react with alkali, but they don't react with water. So C goes wrong. Potassium oxide is a basic oxide. Yes, so it's a correct answer. D is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 21. A student is provided with a suitable apparatus, distilled water, and the following reagents. Okay. Solid magnesium hydroxide, solid lead carbonate, dilute nitric acid, aqueous sodium chloride, aqueous sodium sulfate. Which salt can a student be prepared as a pure dry sample? Okay. So, we have a solid lead carbonate and we have a dilute nitric acid. So we can prepare lead nitrate, which is present in all of them. Okay. So we are done with these two. Because, okay, we can react, okay. Magnesium sulfate is water and okay, it's a solid. Okay. So we have a nitric acid, we have a sodium hydroxide, so we can make magnesium nitrate as well. Then lead chloride. So if you see, we have prepared lead nitrate, right? So with this lead nitrate, if we react sodium chloride, we will get the precipitates of lead nitrate. Oh, sorry, lead chloride. So that can be made. Oh, so it's for sure D is wrong. Okay. Now we are left with lead sulfate and magnesium sulfate. So by reacting the lead nitrate formed with the sodium sulfate, we are able to get the lead sulfate as well because the lead salts except the lead nitrate all are, prepared by precipitation method. So we need to mix the aqueous solution. So that is correct. Now we are left with the magnesium sulfate. So magnesium sulfate is water soluble. So we need a sulfuric acid to make magnesium from with this. With this, we need a sulfuric acid to react to form the magnesium sulfate. So magnesium sulfate doesn't form, A goes wrong. And lead sulfate is not present in C, so C goes wrong. So our correct answer is B. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, MCQ number 22. When heated copper to crystals, CuO support attached to react as shown. Okay. When okay, so if you see these are initial ones, so which are hydrated. So A goes wrong. So A goes wrong. It's a hydrated copper to sulfate, which is blue and crystalline because these they form they are obtained in the form of crystals. So see, colorless, blue and powdery makes B and C goes wrong, and we have identified the correct answer, that is D. Now, MCQ number 23. Which formula represents the oxides of element Z in group 2 of the periodic table? So we know that the group 2 element is Z, it's a positive 2 charge, and oxygen is 2 negative. So when they form compound, it will form ZO. So that is A. So it's a correct, and B, C, and D goes wrong, right? Now, MCQ number 24. Element X is in group 1. Some statement about element X are given. X is not the least dense element in the group 1. Okay, so it might be on top. X is more reactive than potassium. So it means it's below potassium. It's below potassium. X has an AR value less than 100. Which element is X? So below potassium and less than 100. So we have to look at the periodic table. Okay, so below potassium, less than, so it's a rubidium, right? Rubidium has the AR of 85, which is less than 100. So C is the correct answer, rubidium. A, B, and D goes wrong, right? MCQ number 25. Just 1 minute, please. Okay. MCQ number 25. Our student makes 3 statements about the metals and the non-metals. All alloys contains at least one metal. Yes, that is correct. All metals are good thermal and electrical conductors. Yes, it is correct. All solid non-metals are malleable. No, non-metals are brittle. They are not malleable, right? So third is incorrect. So if third is incorrect, that makes A and C wrong. And D is also incorrect because it doesn't include one. So B is the correct answer. Now, MCQ number 26. Group 1 elements and the transition elements are metals. Okay. Student X suggests that group 1 elements are above hydrogen in the reactivity series, but that not all transition elements are above hydrogen in the reactivity series. Yes, yes, it's correct because we see that hydrogen is over here, zinc, iron, are above hydrogen, and then copper, silver are below hydrogen. So the student is correct. Student Y suggests that the densities of group 1 elements are lower than those of transition elements. Yes, because group 1 are softer metals, if you recall. So student 2 are correct as well. So which student are correct? Both X and Y. X only wrong, C, Y only wrong, D, neither X or Y wrong. So A is the correct answer. Okay. Now MCQ number 27. The equation for the three reactions are given. These reactions takes place in the extraction of a metal, which raw is correct. Reaction in extraction of aluminium only. So for aluminium, if you recall, the first reaction occur, the second reaction occur because when due to high temperature, carbon reacts with the oxygen form react with the electrodes to give you carbon dioxide, but third doesn't occur. So it means there are two reactions. So A and B goes wrong. Now, reactions in the extraction of iron ore only. Okay. So for an iron, if you recall, in the blast furnace, the carbon reacts with oxygen to form okay, 27. Okay. See, they are saying this reaction is taking place in both, right? And over they're saying for oxygen only. For if this is the case for for aluminium only, so for aluminium only, we are going to count one reaction, right? Because this is the reaction which is taking place in aluminium only. This is the reaction which is taking place in both. So it is going to be then C and D goes wrong because for aluminium only, either it's A or B. Now, for iron, if we see in iron, this reaction occur. Okay. Reaction in extraction of iron only. Is the problem.
It's three
How?
because then calcium silicate also forms in the blast furnace.
Yeah, that is I marked it for iron. This occurs in the
Yeah.
iron. This occurs in the iron. And this occurs in the iron. So all three occurs in the iron. That is three. And the reaction in extraction of aluminium and iron. So the two. Because see, these two are taking place in both of them. So A goes wrong and B is the correct answer. Okay. Now, MCQ number 28. The domestic water supply is treated to make it safe to drink, which law identifies the treatment and its effect. Okay. Chlorination kills microbes. So A and C goes wrong. Filtration remove soluble. How a filtration can remove a soluble compound? It removes solids, right? So we are only left with the option D. So D is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sodium phosphate Na3PO4 and ammonium nitrate NH4NO3 are both used as a fertilizer. Which row shows the correct percentage by mass of the element in each compound that improves the plant growth? Okay, so that is the nitrogen only. Okay, so we have to work for a nitrogen. Percentage of the element and phosphorus. So basically nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These improve plant growth. So over here we have a phosphorus. The AR of phosphorus is 31. There are 3 sodium. So 3 sodium is going to be 23, 23, and 23 is going to be 69, 69, and 31 is going to be 70, 100, 100, and 4 oxygen, 164. So for this one, multiply by 100. Can anyone tell me the answer? And over here, nitrogen, there are 2 nitrogen, which makes it 28, and the MR of the whole compound is going to be 80. Its MR. Over here, we have to calculate its MR, right? So 80 times 100. So can anyone tell me the percentages in both the cases? Miss, can anyone do it quickly? I think over here you are going to get a 35 and 31 over 164, 80. 80 is 50. So 50,
18.9% for the first one.
18.9%, which makes it 19, right? So 35 and
Yes.
19. So A, C, and D goes wrong, and we are left with only B. So B is the correct answer. Okay. Now, MCQ number 30, the processes are shown. The decomposition of vegetation, the emission of a car from a car engine, the photosynthesis. Okay. So, which row shows up gas produced in each process? In process one, if you recall, vegetation, decomposition of vegetation gives you methane. So A is and B goes wrong. Emission from a car engine gives you, it doesn't give you hydrogen, so D goes wrong. It means we are left with only C, so C is the correct answer, right? Now, MCQ number 31, which compound is not an alkane, alcohol, or carboxylic acid? So if you see this one, alcohol goes wrong. It's an alkane, goes wrong. It's an alkene, goes wrong. So if you see, it's none of them. There is a C double bond O, and both sides there are carbon, which is actually called ketone, but over here it's not an alkane. A is not an alkane. A is not an alkene. A is not an alcohol. A is not a carboxylic acid. So A is your correct answer. Now, MCQ number 32. Alkane can be produced by the cracking of an alkenes can be produced by the cracking of alkanes, such as decane. Which equation shows the cracking of the decane to produce 2 different alkenes or at least one other product? Okay, so 2 different alkenes. So if you remember the formula of the alkenes, the general formula is CnH2n, right? So over here, it's an alkene, and this one and this one both are alkanes, so A goes wrong. If you see, it's an alkene, and at least one other product, so B can be an answer. But C10. So it's a wrong equation actually, if you see. And the above one is wrong as well. C10. 2 times 3 makes it 6. 6 plus 4, 10. Yeah. The above two are forming the more products than the number of carbon atoms over here. So A and B goes wrong. Over here, we are getting one alkene and one alkane, right? So C goes wrong. You see over here, this one and this one, C2H4 and C3H6. So both are alkenes and one other product. So D is the correct answer. MCQ number 33. Alkenes undergo addition reaction with bromine to form dibromoalkane. Which statement is correct? So, ethene, no, my bad. Ethene, C double bond C, and the two reacts with bromine, and bromine reacts to produce 1,1 dibromoethane. So, what is going to happen? We are going to get one bromine over here and one bromine over here. So, it is not going to be 1,1 dibromoethane. It is going to be 1,2 dibromoethane. So, A goes wrong. Propene and bromine reacts to produce 1,3 dibromopropane. So again, it is going to be wrong because the double bond is like this. So when the double bond is going to be broken, so you are going to get the bromine on the two adjacent carbons. So instead of 1,3, again, you are going to get 1,2 dibromopropane. So B goes wrong. Butene and bromine reacts to produce two. So now you are going to understood that both the bromines are not going to be placed on the same carbon. So C goes wrong. It means we are left with option D. So option D is the correct answer. Let's see, 1,2 dibromobutane is formed when but1 is react. Okay. Now, MCQ number 34. How many moles of oxygen are required for the complete combustion of 2 moles of ethanol? Okay. So, if you work for ethanol, ethanol is C2H6O, and it is reacting with oxygen, forming carbon dioxide and water. What they are asking, if there are 2 moles of this, so we have a 4 carbons, so I'm going to put 4 over here. 2 times 6 is 12. So 12 hydrogen, so I'm going to put 6 over here. Now 8 oxygens over here and 6 oxygens over here. So 8 plus 6 makes it 14. Out of 14, 2 oxygens are already here. So 2 are left. So 6 moles. So that is C. A, B, and D goes wrong. And C is the correct answer. Is this clear? Now, MCQ number 35. 2 reactions are shown. Okay, in the reaction 1 and reaction 2. Okay, so if you see reaction 1, you are adding hydrogen. So what is going to happen? There is some mistake. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 carbons. Okay. So the compound X would be CH2, CH. Actually, it's CH3, not CH2. It would be like this. CH. Then it turns into single bond. You got one hydrogen over here, one hydrogen over here, and OH is already there. So you will get a propane one all. So C and D goes wrong. So over here, there is a printing mistake. That is not 2 over here. And instead of this 2, there is 3. And this is 1. Okay, so compound X is propane one all. So when it is oxidized, what we are going to get on oxidation of an alcohol, we get propan one all going to form propanoic acid, which is carboxylic acid. So over here, carboxylic acid. So B goes wrong and A is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Now, MCQ number 36. A section of the structure of a protein is shown. How many amino acid monomer molecules have been used to make this section of the protein? So you see the monomer amino acid. So that amino acid is start from this. So from there, the hydrogen removes. This one has a one R chain and one H. And over here, C double bond OH. And from here, the OH is removed. So it means this is the portion which is present in the protein chain. So one, then second, then third, and then 4. So 4. A, B, and D goes wrong, and C4 is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you? Now, MCQ number 37. Which piece of apparatus is used to measure exactly 27.3 centimeter cube of a liquid? So it's in a decimal, and you need the accurate measurement. So for that, it's always a burette, not condenser. Measuring cylinder gives approximate reading. Volumetric pipette just give you either 25 exact 25 centimeter cube or exact 10 centimeter cube, whatever the capacity of that pipette would be. So A is the correct answer. Till here, is this clear to all of you? Okay. Now, MCQ number 38. A student titrates aqueous sodium hydroxide with a 0.1 mole per dm cube hydrochloric acid. The titration results are used to calculate the concentration of aqueous sodium hydroxide. Which choice correct? Apparatus to measure the volume of dilute sulfuric acid. Okay. So obviously, that is for sure. We are not going to use measuring cylinder. So C goes wrong. And over here, again, measuring cylinder is not going to be used. So A goes wrong. One is always measured with the burette and the other one is always measured with the pipette. Both are not going to be measured by volumetric pipette. So D goes wrong, and we are left with option B. So option B is the correct answer. Is this clear?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now MCQ number 39. A mixture of 4 colored dyes is analyzed by the chromatography. The result is shown. Okay, we are getting the 3 spots, not 4. Which change allows the 4 colored dyes to be seen separately? Measuring the RF values, spot carefully. No, it doesn't make any sense to give you the 4th one, right? Run the chromatogram for a longer time. No, because if the 2 dyes have a same solubility, so if you run it for a longer time, again, they are going to, both the dyes going to travel the same distance, longer distance. Run the chromatogram using different solvent. Yeah, in a different solvent, they might have a different solubility, so they appear. Use a locating agent. All our dyes, nothing is colorless, so no use of locating agent. So C is the correct answer. Is this clear to all of you? Now MCQ number 40. An aqueous solution contains a cation of metal X. Okay. Precipitate forms when a few drops of aqueous sodium hydroxide are added to the solution. The precipitate dissolves in excess of aqueous sodium hydroxide. What is the possible identity of metal X? So with sodium hydroxide, okay, aluminum can be identified, right? So, and they form the precipitate and they dissolve when excess is there. So C and D goes wrong. Okay. So same happen with the aluminum, same happen zinc, making it V goes wrong. And ammonium, we don't get the precipitate. So A is the correct answer. Okay, with the aluminum and zinc, both shows white precipitate on adding aqueous sodium hydroxide and adding excess of aqueous sodium hydroxide, the white precipitate disappears. So over here, we are ended with the paper. Just